Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talk Ema. I'm Emma. Today, I'm feeling great and enjoying a warm cup of green tea. It's relaxing and I'm ready for a fun lesson.
Hello, Emma. Hello, everyone. I'm Jack. I'm really excited today because in our last lesson, we learned 3 important tenses, and you promised 2 more.
That's right, Jack. You remembered well. We already learned the present, past, and future tenses. Today, we will learn the final 2 that make English sound smoother. Exactly. Think of them as an upgrade. The first 3 tenses help you express basic ideas, while seg extra 2 help your English feel more fluent and natural.
I like that idea. It feels like moving to the next level. Before we start, thank you to everyone who listens, supports us, and learns English with us.
Yes, thank you so much. If you enjoy Talk Ema, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your friends. Your support helps us continue creating lessons.
All right, Emma, I'm ready. Tell me about tense number 4. What is it called, and why is it so useful in everyday conversations?
Tense number 4 is the present continuous. I call it the right now tense because we use it for actions that are happening at this very moment. Exactly. The structure is simple. Use as, is, or are, then a verb with ing. For example, I am reading, she is cooking, or they are watching.
That makes sense. I read books sounds like a habit, but I am reading a book means it is happening right now while I'm speaking.
Perfect. You already understand the difference. Simple present talks about routines, while present continuous focuses on actions happening at this exact time.
And the rule is easy to remember. We use am with I, is with he, she, and it, and are with you, we, and they. Simple and clear. I'm feeling more confident already. The present continuous is easier than I expected, and I can see how often people use it in real conversations.
That's right, Jack. We can say, I'm reading, she's cooking, and they're watching. These shorter forms sound more natural and are common in daily conversations.
I like the short forms because they are faster and easier to say. When native speakers talk, I hear them use these forms almost all the time. Sure, right now I'm sitting in my chair, talking with you, learning English, drinking some water, and enjoying this lesson. I'm also feeling very happy.
Excellent work. Every sentence is correct because each action is happening now. That's why the present continuous makes your English feel active and alive.
I really like that idea. It feels like watching a movie scene. You can clearly see the action happening instead of only hearing about it.
That's a great comparison. The present continuous helps listeners imagine the action. It creates a clear picture of what is happening at this moment.
I have a question. Sometimes I hear I'm going to the park and I'm going to cook dinner. They sound similar, but do they mean the same thing?
Good question. The meaning depends on the situation. If you are walking toward the park, it means now. If you are planning dinner, it means the future. Exactly. Don't worry too much about it right now. Just remember the pattern. Am, is, or are, plus a verb ending in ing for actions happening now.
That sounds simple enough. I think I'm ready for more practice because the rule is becoming clearer every time we use it in conversation.
Great! Let's do a quick quiz. If I ask, what do you eat for breakfast? Which tense should you use and why is it the correct choice? Wonderful, Jack. You answered every question correctly. You clearly understand is when to use simple present for habits and present continuous for actions happening now.
Thanks, Emma. The quiz really helped me. It made the difference easy to see because one tense talks about everyday life and the other talks about this moment.
Exactly. Let's try a few more examples. If I ask, where do you work? I'm asking about your regular job, not what you are doing right now.
Right, I would answer, I work in an office. But if you ask, what are you doing right now? I would say, I'm recording a podcast.
Perfect. That is the key difference. One question is about your daily life, and the other is about the action happening at this exact second.
I really enjoy these examples because they make grammar feel practical. It feels less like studying rules and more like having a real conversation.
That's great to hear. Now imagine our listeners. Some are listening on a bus, some are walking in the park, and others are making dinner right now.
Yes, and all of those examples use the present continuous. They describe actions happening at this moment, and they help us picture our listeners clearly.
Exactly. To everyone listening right now, thank you for spending time with us. We're happy you are here and learning English together with us.
We truly appreciate every listener. Whether you're relaxing at home or traveling somewhere, we hope this lesson is helping you feel more confident.
Now it's time for our fifth and final tense. This one is called the present perfect, and I like to call it the experience tense.
The experience tense sounds interesting. Does it help us talk about things we have done in our lives without focusing on a specific time?
Exactly. We use it for life experiences. For example, I have been to Paris. It means I visited Paris sometime in my life, but I don't say when.
So the important thing is the experience itself, not the date. I'm simply telling someone that this happened at some point in my life. Now I understand. I went to Paris last summer sounds like the beginning of a story, but I have been to Paris describes a life experience.
That's exactly right, Jack. The present perfect is all about life experiences. It tells us what someone has done in life without saying the exact time.
I understand the idea now, but how do I build this tense? Is there a simple pattern that I can remember and use in everyday conversations?
Yes, there is. Use have or has and then the special verb form. Don't worry about the grammar name. Just think of it as the form you need after have.
That sounds easier than I expected. So I can say I have walked in the rain or I have cooked dinner for my family many times.
Exactly. Many verbs are simple, but some common verbs change completely. For example, go becomes been, eat becomes eaten, see becomes seen, and do becomes done.
I'm not a big fan of irregular verbs, but those examples seem useful. I think I can remember them if I hear and use them often.
That's the best way to learn. For now, focus on a few helpful phrases like I have been to, I have tried, I have seen, and I have done.
I like that approach. Instead of memorizing long grammar lists, I can learn a few useful expressions and start using them in real conversations.
Exactly. Another important word is never. It means not even one time in your whole life. For example, I have never tried sushi or I have never seen snow.
That's a very useful word. It helps me talk about experiences I don't have. I can already imagine using it when meeting new people and sharing stories.
Great! Now try some examples. Tell me about places you have visited, foods you have tasted, movies you have watched, or things you have never done.
Okay, I have been to Tokyo, I have tried Korean food, I have seen that movie several times, and I have never visited Africa.
Excellent. Every sentence talks about your life experience, not a specific date. That is exactly why the present perfect is the right choice here.
One thing still confuses me. Sometimes I hear have, and sometimes I hear has. When should I use each one in a sentence?
Good question. Use have with I, you, we, and they. Use has with he, she, and it. The rule is simple and very similar to other grammar patterns.
That makes sense. So I can say she has tried sushi, he has visited Paris, and my friend has learned several languages.
Perfect. You're getting comfortable with this tense already. The more you use it, the more natural it will sound when you talk about experiences.
Let me describe my friend Maria. She has traveled to many countries, tried different foods, learned new words, and she has never visited Australia. I agree. Compared to her, I have only visited a few countries. Listening to her adventures makes me want to travel more and explore new places.
And when you do, you can proudly say, I have been to 4 countries or even more. That's a perfect example of the present perfect tense.
I like that. It feels useful because I can talk about my experiences without worrying about exact dates or trying to remember every detail.
Exactly. Now, let's learn a very common question. We often ask, have you ever? When we want to know about someone's life experiences.
So if I ask, have you ever visited Japan? Or have you ever tried Mexican food? I'm asking about any time in a person's life.
That's right. Here's another example. Have you ever seen a shooting star? It's a beautiful light that moves quickly across the night sky.
I know what you mean now. It looks like a falling star. Honestly, I haven't seen one yet, but I would really love to see one someday.
Me too. And notice how simple the answers are. You can say yes, I have, or no, I have not. Both are natural and easy to use.
I also hear people say haven't all the time. So instead of I have not been there, I can simply say I haven't been there.
Exactly. Native speakers use contractions very often. You'll hear haven't and hast in conversations because they sound smoother and more natural.
Let me ask you something fun. Have you ever eaten a very unusual food, something that surprised you or seemed a little strange at first?
Yes, I have. During a trip, I tried fried insects. It was definitely different from anything I had eaten before, but it was an interesting experience.
Wow, that sounds brave. I have never tried anything like that, and right now I can't imagine myself putting fried insects on my dinner plate.
You never know, Jack. Sometimes travel changes our minds. New places introduce us to new foods, new cultures, and experiences we never expected.
That's true. Speaking of experiences, I remember our coffee example from the last lesson, where we used different tenses to tell one simple story.
Exactly. This time, I want you to use all 5 tenses together. Create one coffee story that includes present, past, future, continuous, and perfect.
All right, I'm ready. Let's start with the first one. Simple present. I drink coffee every morning because I enjoy the taste and the energy it gives me.
That was excellent, Jack. You used all 5 tenses in one simple story about coffee, and every sentence sounded natural, clear, and easy to understand.
Thanks, Emma. I was surprised by how well they worked together. One topic helped me talk about my habits, memories, plans, actions, and experiences.
Exactly. That's why these 5 tenses are so powerful. Together, they help you talk about almost everything in daily life without feeling confused.
I like thinking of them as 5 different time windows. Each one shows a different part of my life, but they all connect perfectly together.
That's a great way to describe it. You don't need lots of complicated grammar rules. Fi's 5 tenses are enough for most everyday conversations.
Honestly, I feel much more confident now. Before this lesson, grammar seemed difficult, but now it feels useful and much easier to understand.
Wonderful. Let's do one final review. The fourth tense is the present continuous, which we use for actions happening right now at this moment.
Right. The pattern is simple. Am, is, or are, plus a verb ending in ing. For example, I'm studying, she's reading, and they're playing.
Perfect. The fifth tense is the present perfect. We use it to talk about life experiences using have or has plus the special verb form. Excellent. So now we know all 5 important tenses: simple present, simple past, simple future, present continuous, and present perfect.
And each one has a special job. Together, they help us talk about everyday habits, past events, future plans, current actions, and life experiences.
That's exactly right. If you practice these 5 tenses regularly, your English will sound more natural, more confident, and much more fluent.
I learned a lot today, and I hope our listeners learned something useful too. These lessons make English feel simple and enjoyable.
Before we finish, we have a question for everyone listening. Have you ever tried something new and loved it? Use the present perfect in your answer.
You can write something like, I have tried yoga and loved it. Or I have never tried surfing, but I would like to try it someday.
We always enjoy reading your comments and seeing your progress. Thank you for spending your time with us here on Talk Ema today.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep practicing a little every day. Stay curious and see you next time on Talk Ema. Bye for now. That sounds exciting. So these last 2 tenses are not just for communication. They help us sound more natural, more confident, and more like native speakers. So if something is happening while we are talking, I should use this tense. It is not about habits, yesterday, or tomorrow. It is about now.
Great job, Jack. Now you can say, I am learning English. She is making dinner, and they are watching TV. And all of them describe actions happening now. Exactly. Now let's practice. Tell me what is happening around you right now. Use the present continuous and describe the actions you are doing at this moment.
So I should pay attention to the context. The same words can describe a present action or a future plan depending on what is happening. That uses the simple present because it asks about my usual habit. I eat toast and eggs for breakfast, and right now I'm only drinking water.
That's right. Compare it with the simple past. I went to Paris last summer gives a specific time, while I have been to Paris does not. Maria sounds amazing, Jack. She has visited many places and collected wonderful experiences. Travel gives us stories, memories, and a better understanding of the world.
For example, I have been to Paris. She has tried sushi. And have you ever seen snow? These sentences focus on experiences, not exact times.